to give us more perspective on this issue, we're being joined on the News at 10 by the Chairman, Depot and Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Dapo Abiodun. You're welcome to the News at 10.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me.
Now, why are we back here? We thought the issue of fuel scarcity was over, and now we're back again.
Well, thank you very much for having me this evening. Why are we where we are? I remember the last time that you had me on this edition, News at 10. I explained a few things that happened, and I think I'll just quickly run through them again. Traditionally, the marketers in the country, comprising of both the major marketers and the depot owners, would import about 75% of the consumption of fuel in this country. And NNPC would import about 25%. However, by around October of last year, when the price of crude became so high such that marketers could no longer import and sell at 145 and make any margin, the burden of importing fell solely on NNPC. And as a result, NNPC not being quite prepared for that led to a slight gap in supply, coupled with the fact that there was a threat of a strike by Pengersen, if you remember at that time, or Nupeng, it was in December, that led to panic buying. And traditionally, consumption in December is usually about 50% higher than normal months. So we've had that problem. That problem still exists today. And what is the problem? Marketers are no longer importing. Now, let's put things into perspective. If you have a situation where marketers were importing 75%, and we're talking about maybe 45 odd companies who are doing 75% of the volumes, and suddenly that responsibility has now fallen in the hands of NNPC, just one company, a government company, run by civil servants, not quite prepared for this challenge. And I must remind you that NNPC has other responsibilities. They are in refining, they have upstream responsibilities, they have greenfield, they have a lot. They're not just set up to import or distribute fuel. So I would want to say, without sounding patronizing, I think with what they've found themselves in, I think they are doing not badly. However, the solution that will be enduring is to have marketers resume importation so that they can support NNPC. To date, why are marketers not importing? Like I said, the pricing is not favorable. When we deregulated in 2016, it was on the premise that the exchange rate would be about 306, and the price of crude then was about maybe $40. And I must explain the correlation between the price of crude and the price of petrol, which is a refined product, is a direct relationship. So once the price of crude goes up, price of fuel will go up. So if you look at the price of crude today, hovering about $70, it was not anticipated. So at that time, what we did then was we assumed that at 145 and that exchange rate of about 305, with crude staying at about $40, we can reasonably sell fuel for between 140 and 145. The plan was to continue to modulate. It wasn't meant to be a stagnant pricing. As price of crude changed, we would begin to modulate pricing upwards. But this administration, in its wisdom, and rightly so, felt that having changed the pricing from 95 to 145 and the multiplier effect in the economy, which was obviously some form of inflation, it would be unfair to now begin to modulate upwards. Today we are landing at about 170 if we did land. To sell to the Nigerian public, we'll probably be looking at about maybe 190. Can this economy at this time withstand an increase from 145 to 190 when you don't have palliatives in place? I mean, when you're going to do that, you have to have had mass transit in place and so on and so forth.
Many things. But how, in your opinion, is government taking care of the landing cost differential? Is subsidy coming back through the back door, perhaps?
You know, this has been subject of controversy in the last couple of days. Yes. As a matter of fact, the National Assembly has waded into this. Yes. And I can tell you for a fact that there has been no subsidy. Subsidy was eliminated in the budget in 2016. So as of today, there is no subsidy. Yes, NNPC, being the supplier of last resort, has been importing. They are landing at a price that's higher than 145 that they are selling to us. But you have to understand that that is the responsibility they have. They have a trading arm who are trading these cargoes and bringing them in. And when you're trading, you know, in your financial year, there will be times that you make a loss. There are times that you may make a profit. But at the end of your financial year, they will net out. So their trading arm is trading crude. They were trading crude at $40. Their trading crude are now at $70. They are buying gasoline higher than they anticipated. But in gasoline pricing, we have what we call the winter months and the summer months. The summer months are relatively better priced than the winter months. So the winter months start from about October and they end about maybe February. So you find out that when we begin to see summer pricing, NNPC might as well, we call them under recovery and over recovery. So right now they may be in under recovery. By the time they now get to the summer months, they'll be in over recovery and it will net out. So the issue about somebody paying subsidy or not paying subsidy is not the case.
But a lot of people will beg to differ. They think the government is probably paying subsidy. So can you explain the difference in pricing? Okay.
So what I'm saying is today, no marketer is importing. NNPC is the sole importer.
Okay.
And what they are doing is, they're doing that because they owe the nation a responsibility of ensuring there's fuel in the country. So whatever it takes, they're doing. So they're importing these volumes. They're giving marketers at a price that allows us to take them into our storage and sell them at our filling stations at 145. Now, what is that price? It could be 170, it will be 160, it will be 175. Whatever that price is, there will be what we call an under recovery. So NNPC is landing and selling to us at a price that is less than what they are buying for. So that is an under recovery. Tomorrow, NNPC may well begin to import and begin to sell to us at a price that they actually make a profit on. So that is an over recovery. So if you have an over recovery at some point in time in the year, it nets out another recovery. So it does not necessarily interpret to having a subsidy. For it to become a subsidy, it must have been budgeted for by the federal government. It would either have been budgeted for, or the government would have gone to National Assembly and sought for appropriation. So before it becomes subsidy, maybe at the end of the year, if the figures don't net out, they now have a negative, then they say to the executive, look at our books. In year 2018, we've suffered an XYZ loss. Can we please appropriate for this so that it can be paid back to us? But at the present time, there's no subsidy, really. So I don't understand what the issue is. But the problem with Nigeria is everybody professes to be a professional in the oil industry, and everybody is crying, there's subsidy. There is no subsidy in the budget. There is no market that has been paid a penny of subsidy. At least I am the chairman of the depot owners, and I mean we account for maybe 60% of the volume that comes to this country. So if we are not being paid, and I know the Totals, the Mobiles, the Corn Oils, the
what have you,
have not been paid any subsidy. So there is no subsidy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dakwa Abiodun is the chairman of the Depot and Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria.